Welcome to a Legendarium holiday special about the life and legacy of Saint Valentine. Valentine's Day is known throughout the English-speaking world as a time when sweethearts exchange cards, flowers, and candy in the name of Saint Valentine. As such, most of us have heard about the holiday's namesake, Saint Valentine, yet the details of his life are not as well known, in part because little is known about the man despite his famous name. To make the matter even more difficult, Valentine, or Valentinus, became a common name during the 3rd century, when Roman persecution of Christians reached its height. Likely because of that, there are several martyrs from this troubled time called Valentine or Valentinus. The only one whom we have much knowledge of, Saint Valentinus, lived and worked during the reign of the bloody soldier emperor Claudius Gothicus. He served as a Christian bishop in the Italian town of Terni, and of course the authorities arrested him and put him into the custody of an aristocrat named Asterius. As the story goes, Asterius allowed the preacher to do his job. Saint Valentinus told him of how Christ led pagans out of the darkness and into the light of truth and salvation. Asterius made a bargain with Valentinus. If the Christian could cure Asterius's daughter of blindness, then he would convert. Valentinus put his hands over the girl's eyes and chanted, "Lord Jesus Christ, enlighten your handmaid, because you are God, the true light." With that, the child could see, and according to legend, Asterius smashed the pagan idols in his house. His whole family fasted for 3 days and then accepted baptism. That included a total of 44 extended family, retainers, and slaves. Unfortunately, when Emperor Claudius Gothicus heard the news, he demanded that Valentinus appear before the emperor to explain himself. When Valentinus tried to persuade the fiercely pagan Gothicus to become a Christian, the emperor replied by ordering both the household and the saint who converted them executed. Valentinus died by being beaten with clubs, then pounded with stones, and finally beheaded outside the Flaminian Gate. A pious Christian widow, whose name is lost to history, made off with Valentinus's body and buried him at the site of his martyrdom on the Via Flaminia. This ancient highway stretched from Rome to present-day Rimini. Of course, we don't have hard evidence for this remarkable story. Even the reigning pope in 496 AD, Gelasius I, described Valentinus's life as being known only to God. In 1969, the Roman Catholic Church even removed Saint Valentine from the general Roman calendar because so little is known about him. However, the Church still recognizes him as a saint, listing him in the February 14th spot of Roman martyrology. Regardless, as with other saints, his remains became much sought after as both devotional objects and the means to cure illness. Valentine would not only become the patron saint of the lives of lovers, but would also watch over beekeepers, epileptics, and those who suffer from fainting spells. In 11th century Brittany, one bishop used what he claimed to be Valentinus's head to put out fires, prevent epidemics, and even exorcise demons from his congregants. The Basilica of Santa Maria in Cosmedin, located in Rome, claims to house Saint Valentinus's skull, which is crowned with flowers. Other bits of Saint Valentine's skeleton are on display in the Czech Republic, Ireland, Scotland, England, and France. For the faithful, the relics show an ongoing presence of the saints among them, which even death cannot break. Only in the late medieval age did Saint Valentine become linked with romantic love. The love connection first appeared more than 1,000 years after the martyr's death. In 1375, Geoffrey Chaucer, the author of the Canterbury Tales, declared the February feast of Saint Valentine to also mark the mating of birds. He wrote in his book The Parliament of Fowls, "For this was on St. Valentine's Day, when every bird come to choose his mate." Other medieval legends had Saint Valentine passing notes between Christian lovers jailed by Gothicus. Other stories told of him carrying out Christian marriages despite an imperial ban on weddings, for Claudius Gothicus wanted men enlisting in the army, not settling into family life. And still other stories made him the romantic partner of the blind woman whom he is said to have healed. Of course, these stories only started making the rounds after people started to link Valentine's Day with romance. And for the centuries, people exchanged cards, flowers, and handwritten letters to both lovers and friends on the saint's feast day, February 14th. During the 1840s, the first mass-produced Valentine's Day cards appeared in the United States, sold by Esther A. Howland. Known as the mother of the American Valentine, Howland is credited today with commercializing Valentine's Day, and for her elaborate, crafty cards made with lace and ribbons. In time, this holiday grew into an industry, generating $24 billion a year in sales of cards, chocolates, gifts, and even vacation-related activities. That wraps things up for this episode of The Legendarium. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, press like. If you want to see more, press subscribe. And if you've got anything to say, let me know in the comments section. Thanks again for joining me, and I hope that you have a great rest of the day.